I'm going to go ahead and begin a new Twin Flame video, an update on the Twin Flame Collective, how the Twin Flame Collective is doing, and particularly messages from Divine Masculine and Divine Feminine. So let's go ahead and get it started. So right away, I do feel a lot of release of pressure, a lot of relief is happening in the Twin Flame Collective, where both are actually going through initiation as well, as both are feeling ready and aligned with each other. I am seeing that there needs to be some sort of detachment right now in order for there to be a new beginning in a dynamic. So feeling a little bit detached is okay in order for the emotions not to overcome you, in order for you to respond to emotions rather than becoming reactive. Right now, what's happening in the collective, in the Twin Flame Collective, is that they're feeling as though they need to come clean to one another. But in order to come clean to one another, they need to turn over a new leaf. They need to turn over a leaf and learn from internal and external conflicts, because right now the twins are at a point where they are very neutral. Like what's happening right now in their emotional processes is that they're very neutral, and they may be a little bit aloof to the point where they want to avoid tension, right? I am seeing that there's also a lot of release of pressure that's happening due to them potentially wanting to be constructive rather than deconstructive in the connection. So there's a lot of constructive internal criticism happening within both of them, so they can detach from any power games, from any trickery, from any conflict when it comes to challenging each other's power, challenging each other's stance. So like runner chaser dynamic is being released, control is being released, obsession and possessions being released. The Twin Flame Collective is removing themselves from any sort of like feelings of unworthiness or any codependency that was creating toxicity in their connection. And this is as a result helping them both unexpectedly step into this new phase where they're actually ready to show up more authentically. They're ready to be more verbal. They're ready to confess. They're ready to come clean about their feelings. They're ready to come clean about what they need to work on. They're ready to come clean about the reciprocal connection. And there's a lot of chemistry that's also bubbling in the back, right? And it's coming to the surface as they are both going to want to be lighthearted rather than battling each other. They're both going to also begin to be more willing to adapt to changes when it comes to their mannerism and the way that they approach each other. And this is going to create a lot of unexpected changes as they let go of the old power games, as they let go of the old way of dealing with one another, especially when it comes to a codependent dynamic, when it comes to power games, when it comes to one-upping each other, when it comes to deluding and deceiving the other partner when it comes to how they truly feel. So they're both internally working on this so they can show up more authentically. And divine order is at work here. So rest assured, if in knowing communication, you guys are going to be subtly getting back into communication, being more authentic, being less tense, being more yourself, bringing beauty back into the romance and allowing one another to actually repair this connection with a sense of freedom from the blockages that were potentially holding you guys back, whether it was interferences like competition or other people, or whether it was just your guys' dynamic that was very deconstructive in the connection. So now there's a lot of positive changes happening internally, which is externally going to bring this connection into harmony. And there's a lot of healing that's also going on, especially when it comes to the mental level, because like I said, they're both now less frightened about the changes they need to make. And as they detach from the old programming, right, and the old dynamic and how they were conditioned to reacting to each other, they're now actually like, in a state where they're able to actually process their feelings in a much more objective manner. So now I'm going to go ahead and move on to how Divine Masculine is thinking and feeling about the connection and how he's doing in the connection. So I am seeing that Divine Masculine is at a point where he's taking care of himself more. Divine Masculine is at a place where he's going with the flow of the connection. He's overcoming old conditioning, as we just mentioned, which is crazy because the cassette card came out, which is all about overcoming conditioning, overcoming the old events that they replay in their mind that kept them confused, that kept them in a space of fear and illusions, that kept them really scattered when it came to trusting this connection and actually wanting to be vulnerable, right? Actually wanting to discover the romantic feelings that they actually do feel, and they're going through unexpected changes within their mind that is helping them take that leap, that's helping them trust to actually give into this connection. They're actually very excited because they're less in their head about things. You know, they're coming out of their mind, right? They're coming into a position where they're willing to take authority because they're trusting in what they feel, and they feel as though this is also divinely guided because they're listening to their spiritual authority. They're listening to their intuition. They're paying attention to the signs. Everything is in a way being orchestrated in a way where things are coming out of their life that weren't serving them, and now the Divine Feminine is like kind of like in their life at a perfect place at a perfect time. So it's like they're able to understand the reasons why things needed to happen. Like they're understanding the notion of cycles and seasons and the reasons why things happen, and they're becoming very thrilled with the idea of rekindling this connection. They're feeling a lot of excitement, a lot of unconditional love for the Divine Feminine. And the reason why they're feeling a lot of unconditional love for the Divine Feminine is because they're recognizing the love within themselves. And as they make healthy choices, such as taking care of their body, right? Taking care of their mental health, taking care of their future, and taking care of their spiritual authority, it's actually helping them connect with Divine Feminine's love, because before they were so disconnected from themselves that they were disconnected from Divine Feminine, right? That's just how it works. So now that they're connecting more with themselves, right, and clearing out all the toxicity, all the junk, all the interferences, all the illusions of what they thought was true love, now they're recognizing that the love that with Divine Feminine is the love that is true, because the love that they have for themselves is something that they're reckoning, and they're becoming happier. They're taking care of themselves. They're being more diligent also when it comes to processing their emotions. Rather than running away from it, they're overcoming the fear of intimacy, which is something that Divine Masculine has dealt with for a long time. So they're overcoming this by being practical, by being also sensitive. So Divine Masculine is tapping into their femininity. They're tapping into their emotional sensitivity. They're tapping into their intuition, but they're also embodying what they feel and actually wanting to do something with it, actually wanting to create something out of it. And it's making a lot of changes. They're listening to the signs, and they're going with the flow here with the Wheel of Fortune. There's a lot of things that are being orchestrated for them, and they know that this is destined, whether they believe it or not. Some Divine Masculine do have spiritual beliefs. Some of them may think that you're for them. Some of them are just subconsciously thinking that, but there's a lot of unconditional love that they're feeling for Divine Feminine, and they're wanting to bring love into this situation. They may be a little bit nervous because they're still overcoming that lack of trust, right? They're still overcoming the inability to trust themselves, but they're looking outside of the box. They're being less pragmatic. They're wanting to overcome any karma that they had with Divine Feminine. They're wanting to progress in this connection, and they feel like there's no looking back at this point. Like once they come in, there's no looking back. They also don't want to rely on other people's opinions, because I am seeing that what they feel right now is very electric. It's very magnetic. They are trusting in their intuition. And before, they could have confused themselves with other people's opinions, or, you know, potentially comparing Divine Feminine. And now they know they can't do that, because that's only going to take them away from their own truth. So now they're at a space where they want to have a completion with Divine Feminine, and they're wanting to have this partnership because they're ready to give in, and they're getting rid of outdated thinking as well, which was hampering their movement towards divine feminine. So there's a lot of rewiring happening in their minds. And yeah. Okay guys, so now I'm gonna go ahead and transition to how divine feminine is doing in her journey and how she's thinking and feeling about the journey with divine masculine. So divine feminine is going through major mental changes as well. So like I said, there's a lot of changes happening in both of their cerebral and their psyche right now, in their mind, because divine feminine is right now in a mental growth state. So divine feminine doesn't want to fall back into an old cycle where she was always the one taking the lead, right? Or she was always the one trying to control where things were going to lead in this connection. Divine feminine is being called, right, to actually create balance in her life, to modify the dynamic between them by rectifying her position in the connection, right? By also making different decisions in this connection when it comes to communication, or when it comes to how she shows up in the connection. Divine feminine is in a position where she wants to stabilize her security with her divine masculine, but she doesn't want to lose her ability to grow. She doesn't want to lose her endurance when it comes to her being grounded and her focusing on her abundance and her independence, right? So divine feminine is actually breaking through fear of rejection, fear of abandonment, and also feelings of not feeling worthy. Divine feminine is actually being guided right now to release these things, release and let go of control in order to heal herself, because right now divine feminine may be at a place where she's feeling rejected by divine masculine, she's feeling unworthy, but these triggers are actually emerging within the divine feminine, so the divine feminine can overcome it, right? Because anything that you seek in someone else, it's actually what you're implying that you're seeking within yourself. So divine feminine is going through a purging in her mind and a purging in how she feels about herself in order to step into a role with divine masculine that's self-reliant, that's grounded, that's independent to the point where she's not going to be needy. It's going to be to the point where she's not going to be offensive. It's going to be to the point where divine feminine is going to be self-assured of herself. So she's letting go and purging these old limited beliefs, right? These feelings of unworthiness, these feelings of rejection. And she misses divine masculine a lot. I'm not gonna lie, she misses him a lot. She's thinking about making new memories. She's very nostalgic. But right now she's at a place where she's freeing herself from controlling the dynamic. So what is divine feminine seeking? She's seeking balance. She's seeking reciprocity. She's waiting things out. She's letting go of the control, or the desire to be in control, because those feelings of unworthiness have always controlled divine feminine to actually chase, to be in control, right? To be the one that is the savior of the connection, because her feelings of unworthiness and her fear of rejection was always triggering her to do so. So now she's at a point where she's stabilizing herself, and she knows that things are happening, that things are going to be happening quickly, that she's in the right direction with divine masculine, whether in communication or not. She feels it's coming. She feels that it's happening, and there's a lot of internal growth. And as she accepts these new mindsets and accepts this new way of feeling, she's actually going to enter this new phase. And as she enters this phase of self-completion, there's going to be union, and a new romantic cycle will begin. Okay guys, so if you guys enjoyed the reading and you want a personal, specific, detailed reading on your own twin flame journey, you can go to consciousfultarot.com. You could also catch me on Instagram and TikTok. Alrighty guys, love talking to you guys. Bye my star friends.